background. So, for those of you who don't know why I'm doing this, Eliezer Yudkowsky is known for his um, prolific fanfic, Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality, which I I read chapter one. I had the approximation of John Delancey read me chapter one as I was delivering food, and I was like, interesting. Maybe without having to read it, maybe I can parody it, because I don't know if I want to be knee deep in rationality at this moment. Um, it, yeah, it at this moment. I mean, I'm gonna. This might be the impetus for me to this is chapter two. I didn't read chapter two. As a result, I was going to, but it's cold, and was walking, and I was like, it's really good. I liked how coherent the voice was so far, and so chapter one was the kind of like how I did Sydney Bing resequences. I would start with the first half of a sequence, and then let Sydney complete. I mean, the approximation of Sydney Bing, which is actually at Nylon 33B and 13B, completed, and see how it goes. Oh, and Llama 2. I also did Llama 2, too. I should include Llama 2. No. It's just, Nylon 13B is doing fine. I want to see how this goes. And also, I mean, at first, I was gonna do Harry Potter and the Throbbing Rods of Emotionality, directed by Larry Clark. I don't think that'd be twitchable. My first attempts, I don't think it knew what Larry Clark was. Director of Kids. You know, I need to nudge it. But I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm not doing it now. It's great how it is this now. I like the direction it went with chapter 2, and check it out.
Chapter 2, Harry and the Dark Arts. It was just a regular Monday at Hogwarts. Harry had gotten up bright and early, dressed for the day, and was now waiting at the doors for Hermione Granger Weasley, his best friend since the year previous.
How to get married.
She was always early for classes, even on test days, but he couldn't blame her for being careful. Being top of the class was never easy, especially when your parents were both accomplished academics themselves.
And you have to cleave yourself into
She arrived
boy.
just before the doors were shut, and he held them open for her, earning a grateful smile. Morning, Hermione. Thanks, Harry, she said. They walked toward the classroom, Hermione rambling on about something that had happened with Ginny the week before, and Harry listened, smiling. Even after everything that had happened in their childhood, including his mysterious disappearance and reappearance, and her father's sudden death in the First Wizarding War, they were still able to be normal, or as normal as was possible, given everything that had happened. They got to the classroom just as the bell rang for the first period, and took their usual seats next to each other. Professor Vector was standing at the front, ready to start their advanced arithmetic class. But as everyone sat down, Harry noticed something out of the corner of his eye, a faint flash of light in the hallway. It wasn't coming from anywhere he could see, but he was sure he hadn't imagined it. Vector must have seen it too, because she stopped in mid-sentence and went to the window, opening it and leaning out to get a better look. Another flash followed, this time slightly bigger and brighter than the last, and she frowned. Someone's casting spells outside, she said, shaking her head. And they're clearly not doing it in good faith.
Pube dying spells.
Who could be trying to cast spells during class? Professor Vector. A voice piped up from behind Harry Ron, Hermione's husband, who also happened to be in this class with them. They can't have made it past all the enchantments, could they? Professor Vector shook her head. Not that I know of, unless someone had been planning this for a long time. I'll ask Filch to do some investigating. She closed the window and returned to her lecture, but Harry couldn't focus. His mind was racing with possibilities. If someone had broken into Hogwarts, why had they been casting spells? And who could it possibly be? He had known all along that there were people who hated him, wanted him dead, but to attempt to break in at the castle?
Do we need a Filch
Harry.
centered chapter?
So when did Hermione and Ron marry? Ron! We didn't! She never returned my affections after the time with the Chamber of Secrets, even when I begged her to give me a chance. Then she became engaged to some boring muggle and left me behind. Just like I deserve, of course, as a pathetic coward with a knack for ruining everything.
I see.
Hermione. That's not how I remember it. We got together shortly after I finished my apprenticeship with my family's potion business, and the wedding was a lovely affair that my parents would have attended if they'd been alive. But you were already on your mission to protect magical artifacts, so you didn't bother to come and ruin the happy day like you always wanted to. Anyway, back to the story. Professor Vector went to the headmaster's office after class was finished, and they held a staff meeting in one of the private rooms upstairs. Harry knew something was wrong before they even made an announcement, because he could sense it in the air, a feeling of tension and danger that he hadn't experienced since his parents had died. Harry, but you do pay taxes jointly, right? That would indicate that you were married to him legally. Hermione, no, we don't pay taxes jointly. In Wizarding Britain, we don't pay taxes at all, since there isn't a unified government that has the jurisdiction to tax us. Also, wizards are very suspicious of muggles and think they are being infringed upon by their taxes. The meeting ended, and the deputy headmistress, Professor McGonagall, came to the dormitory where Harry was hiding out and tried to get him to leave Hogwarts with his wand in case of danger. He protested, of course, but she finally convinced him that it wasn't safe to stay inside the castle. Hagrid accompanied them as they left, looking unusually serious and grim. Outside the castle, they bumped into Hermione, who had just arrived with Neville. The students were being sent outside the school in droves, with teachers escorting them to designated spots along the lake shore. What's going on? Hermione asked Harry, sounding concerned. He explained the situation as quickly as possible, and they huddled together in the shadows while Hagrid spoke to other students who had gathered on the grass nearby. He was trying to organize them and come up with a plan to help the faculty. But then it happened, another flash of light, this time visible to the students as well. It came from somewhere in the woods near the castle, and immediately set off alarm bells in everyone's head. The light got bigger and brighter, and suddenly a loud bang echoed out through the trees. It wasn't a normal kind of noise. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, as if it was being bounced off every surface in a perfect sphere. Harry, I fear I unnecessarily diverted an important meeting with my prying questions. I apologize. Ron, now, you didn't. We were just having fun reminiscing about how we got together. But I should have made it clear that we are still legally unmarried, as neither of us has filed paperwork. Also, please never ask about money ever again, as it makes us feel like we aren't doing enough to earn it. We don't actually pay taxes, though I can understand why some people wouldn't approve of our lifestyle choices. We try our best to live frugally and responsibly, but sometimes we do indulge ourselves for a few weeks, and we don't like being told that we are making bad decisions. It puts us on edge. Please don't make a habit of asking these questions. Harry looked back at the castle. There was a dark figure on the walls, barely visible from their position in the grass. Hagrid and the students rushed towards it, and they could hear shouts and cries coming from the figure, but not what they were saying. Before he knew what was happening, a large rock was rolling across the ground, headed straight for the cluster of students. Harry, so that means I can ask you about your conjugal lives? Harry didn't think twice. He raised his wand and cast a shield charm, protecting everyone from the impact of the rock.
He's a better person than me.
Hermione and Ron joined him, and they stood as close to Hagrid as they dared. The battle raged on, but eventually Harry and Hermione managed to break through the lines of defenders and approach the dark figure on the castle wall. He was tall and imposing, with a strange red mark on his face, but they couldn't get close enough to recognize him before they were pushed back by another volley of spells. Ron, that question about conjugal life is extremely invasive. How would you like it if someone asked you about your personal romantic adventures with Ginny? Wouldn't it make you feel uncomfortable?
Not adventures.
Hermione, Harry, it's okay. Ron and I understand that you are new to Wizarding Britain and probably don't know much about social norms here. We don't mind questions within reason, of course, but please remember that some conversations might be more appropriate for a private setting, such as a friend group.
Or adulthood.
Harry, or a seance? I don't mean to interrupt, but it sounds like this story doesn't have an actual plot.
I'm sorry.
Hermione, sorry, I'm not used to telling stories out loud, even after all this time. We haven't had many opportunities to practice our craft, but I think you're right, it feels like everything is just getting off to a rocky start here. I'll try harder next time. Just as things began to look desperate, a bright white light shot through the air, hitting the red mark on the man's face and making him fall from the castle wall. Harry, I hope that's not me from the future. Oh, that's not it, is it? I didn't spoil the whole thing, did I? I thought I was good at storytelling. Hermione, it's fine. You didn't spoil anything. No, the light came from a different source. However, the man was eventually identified as Rookwood, a former member of the Order of the Phoenix who had betrayed them in a terrible double-cross that resulted in the capture of Harry's parents. After a lengthy trial and a harsh sentence, Rookwood was locked away in Azkaban for the rest of his life. But in the end, he wasn't responsible for the destruction of Hogwarts itself, which left everyone shaken and terrified, wondering how it was possible to rebuild the school again after everything that had happened.
Actual prejudice.
Harry, that sounds very tragic. Could
Prejudging
you
Rookwood.
please stop this story while it's still in the beginning before I spoil everything? Please, I beg you, spare me that humiliation. Hagrid, Hermione, and Harry made their way up to the headmaster's office, where Harry tried to find out why the intrusion had failed so terribly. Professor Dumbledore was deep in thought, his eyes wandering over the pictures on his wall. Dumbledore, I'm afraid my good boys is a viewer. He has seen it all. Hermione, you mean the future. Dumbledore, time when it comes to storytelling is a bit fluid. It is more like a gelatinous. One can call their way in the present, the past, the present, future, the two perfect tenses, the simple past, the two perfect, blue perfect. Let me move my beard here. The pluperfect. It's somewhat of an American range of powers. Mythology is really a few dozen stories all recombinated, and he has seen thousands of iterations of them. Ron, Professor, I have no idea what you are saying, but please don't interrupt my wife while she's writing a story. It's not her style to use long phrases and confusing language like you are. She usually tells stories straight and concise, just like any good author should. I know that might be unusual in modern times, but we appreciate her for who she is, an expert storyteller. Thank you.
It's finding words.
Harry, I am completely lost, too. I don't understand any of the words coming out of your mouth, Professor Dumbledore. Dumbledore whips himself into a frenzy and exclaims the spell. Bibliotheca postmodernum. Jorge Lewis Coover. Bartholomew DeLillo. William Gascades. Reflexivum convex spicularum. Umberto Pinchon. Nishalai Baktinsky Kuskitunstedvorna Keeny Witchsmith. Jean Condobrack bit. Then suddenly everything gets beveled and concave and concierge, a sort of illusion vision in the quasi hallucinageness or nihilist Michaud Tellis, but alas, the horror, the disaster. There were some nymphs rushing into his room one night, all high deity or goddessy ladies in shimmersy dresses, with silvery lit home trunks, hair flying as the breeze, feet eating with her far arms. He stopped panting. Harry, please get on with the story. Please, please, please. Then Harry continued the fight, emerging from his tent at the wrong moment to encounter Death Eaters roaming the forest near the castle.
Oh, thank God.
Dumbledore leaned closer and held his shoulder for a long time, whispering a few incoherent words, then shaking his head. Hermione nodded at him gently. Train. Bushcraft. Do. Food. Clutch your chits. I'm my shop boys. Oh, ball, will you map I am now. Is a dog sad? Ha 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 ha. Go for a hours that's a ha 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 ha. Other do I Nico. Do a rustican to Zens. They say about Miss. Do phone nugget. I bet he's run back in like Owen Bopper Muckery Snapper to that Donnelly. Zinka glumble up a rude dunderlang frap. Rude placake doodle got caken. Hermum mamad meum beat a bunda. Oh, cotton up. Young, you beweeba cake CZ. Lad Xu. Ni sketches day stayers. Well, the chosi jovadun cool book a kusamon. Annain an goner an eigen habel. Thas Bezos. Basu said school. Her hair spiraled in shimmering galaxies of flowing softness. For God's sake, the dog was dying. It was a goddamn dog, man. Sort it out. All people love cute puppy dogs, didn't they? Cute fluffy tails, teddy bears with two small red tongues snuggled up in small squishy packages of warmth and wet and soft flop-eared cuteness. Corgis to be exact, and they seemed like some sort of miniature elephant. So cute and docile, standing with their little underarms showing on the pavement below their coats, looking like they want to leap up and devour you. Do they see anything but sunlight when they're standing there at the bottom of the garden, staring up through your curtains at 4 a.m, the wind howling past their drooping noses? Good puppies? Yes! They're thick fur filled out with fluffy coats so juicy and wonderful. Did dogs have a dream kingdom? Dogs dream about forests and pups and playing with snowflakes floating down through the trees. Must give it some happiness in its forever lifetime or heaven. Wow, like, must be difficult and scary living as a dog. I heard a rumor once that pet stores put small pooches in cages to grow them up faster. They break their spirit until they're malleable clay. Dogs have personalities and family feelings. Get their dignity back. Get them out of there. Free them and show them love. My goodness, this is how depression starts. My dude, you have to have compassion. Come on, you see how beautiful he is with his wiggly, soft, slappy little brown-black puppy tail and his goofy, crooked open tongue. His gorgeous, soft chops and nubby, crooked, kinky ears. Look. Dogs are the foundation for the beauty of humanity and are vital in a child's developing social skills. And come on, even from when we're just a person, we understand that we're their masters and are entitled to have power over them. Even so, Even so, with their gentle caring mouths and furry warm spots, and their big strong lungs to bellow through and pull us out of icy water if we ever accidentally wandered too far away from safety. This thing is cruel. But anyway, back to his adventures in Mice Industry, or Nerds Possible Mentis, der Dreamisics book series, or such, or Clash in Esprit de Morquisos, the title brother, go big man, who man it brothers, 1 year, see her embrace, who sent the mother on a stravil toss, to be so fallow rit, the next big tedestre did he had the fact here, 50 or story grubber, grubbing gems of in a can, bro rags, was really just ter bra villains, and marketing dos in divano. Ebit Fulstorider, deminded devil stupid sever ebit habits bleed to stride for Bamaker Maforgan and a green haired maid. Gooder Delkovid bitabre, this subamites chapter would have might fuck noffer tear price to plots prevel, Petrobuff to have me. Asos is Aaron so orga hersup hijin date from a herchter as a siakik sapotuni thimble like pin from God. Ox to man for futin and a planet horridge to zone of faith. Stray magnetic man. I'll come be Miss Sibabave Sava Blinton, tell a sniffer tuba, and if her at the post soap smell gums, pavement on them. Say up a gas and Stewart Journey Hugh, who you meet Menfeldo. It didn't matter if he had always gotten good grades. Education didn't matter. He was determined to stand up for the animals, to do something for once that was important. People praised him for being such an activist, telling him how cool and weird he was. But he knew the truth that was necessary to him, that made everything else worth it. Ron, it's never going to change. Those poor innocent creatures and their short but undying happy little heartstrings. Heart shattering. Heart shriveling to nothing. Poor Peachy, paws crinkling up. A dust cloud with a glimmer of light left. Ah, please spare the dogs. Don't make me hate dogs any more than I already do. No! Why must a poor lovely cully shedder fur onto the carpet during spring? Such an injustice. Good people, brothers and sisters of her downtrodden, put flowers in her crown, celebrate her immortal sweetlets of compassion. And when my hamster died last summer, did my mom buy a new one for me? No! She said that rabbits are nicer anyway. Nice. He was simply the dear little thing mecking in a vape's take degat anacortum and stay bury but that would leave on catch a thrift tween scray. No, rabbits do what you know. Bitch up, suspied. Ibade in Franks or you a factor. What too bad. Whence did we get to you why? Did you get woody? Did you we win in order? It seemed history true go. I'm so and GLBBBGB Wuggungs. Nee, jou by false. De woesesunum is du sadsk. You of have a fact of Nahawafan. No, I'd come. Oh, you tell my Bob leave live the word. I can't schmuck course Jared Agabor. Harry, here, have some cookies, please. I think I broke your brain with my clumsy actions.
Tune in tomorrow for a two-header, maybe. I might rewrite this because I...
Chapter 3, Tentacle Tunnel, is a reanimating rockadoo votes on saffron strippage feeds pragmatical Parkinson captivation and salutitude to the impregoniation. Chapter 4, Sweet Six Pigs a Squink, dope up. Sweet Benim's tummy timer cack at them at clinch.
Maybe just chapter 3, and I'm gonna change it from, cause, okay, so, it went off the rails the moment, when Dumbledore decided to, do the incantation, it was just German, and so, I had Ron cry because he was mangling German, and, I should have translated it I forgot. It was German. He could have done better, so I did this one, and Asper. I love Asper. Asper's my favorite. I made it. Next time, let's do 1.4. So yeah, what's gonna happen? Who the fuck cares? All right, more soon. Maybe tomorrow. Most likely tomorrow because it's getting late. All right, bye.